Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook and YouTube Live for Alight Legal Immigration Law Firm. It is Tuesday, June 21st, and we try to bring immigration topics to you for live questions and updates based on changes or just important tips and information for you to know. So tonight I'm going to talk about delayed asylum decisions. And as many people know, asylum decisions can take anywhere from a couple of weeks, which is unfortunately rare these days, up to several months or even years. So I wanted to talk about some typical reasons for delay. It's really frustrating when you've had your interview and a lot of people waited so long for their interview, and then their interview comes and they're told that they may be able to pick up their decision in 2 weeks, or their decision may be mailed out in 2 weeks. And when that doesn't happen, it's really concerning and causes a lot of stress for people. So these are some of the common reasons for decision delays. And sometimes there are things that you can do, sometimes there's not. And so I'll talk about that a little bit as well. But one of the most common delays for an asylum decision is the background check. So after you are interviewed, there are a series of background checks that are required before the government can decide if you are indeed eligible. If there are criminal issues, safety issues, things like that, then you may not be eligible for asylum. And they're actually searching databases across the world to make sure that you are eligible and there is not harmful information out there about you or your activities or your past criminal history. So the background checks are often a place where the decision gets delayed and oftentimes substantially. So part of the background checks are actually done outside of the asylum office, and other government agencies are involved. And what asylum office directors have told us over and over is that they really have no control over the processing of these background checks, and they can't expedite these background checks. So they're just sort of at the mercy of the other agency who is processing these background checks. So number one, super common reason for delays, and especially so during the pandemic, have been these background checks. Another common reason for delay is because once the asylum officer makes a decision on your case, currently in June of 2022, there are supervisor reviews required of every single decision that goes out of the asylum office. And a lot of times there could be a backup of decisions for the supervisor to review. So there's going to be one supervisor to multiple asylum officers. It's going to depend on the office. It's going to depend on staffing issues, how many asylum officers one supervisor is assigned to. So that supervisor may just have like a huge backlog of cases that they need to review and sign off on. And your case may have actually been decided by the asylum officer, but not yet signed off on by the supervisor. And that final step is necessary before they will send out the decision. That's a really common reason for delay. I know at the Arlington Asylum Office, for example, there was a long period of time where there weren't many supervisors at all. And so there was really a backup of decisions getting pushed out. And this is just another really common reason for an asylum decision not going out the door and you not being notified that a final decision was made on your case. Another common reason is just issues with the officer, and there could be multiple different reasons that the officer hasn't finalized their decision for your case. One, maybe there is an issue that they're researching that they're not super knowledgeable about, and so they are having to take additional time to look into that for your case. So they haven't met their typical 2-week deadline to get the decision out. Also, asylum officers are often reassigned and shuffled around. So they may be assigned to a different team within their own office, or they may be sent on a different job, like they may be sent to the border for processing, or they may have been just sent to a different like headquarters to fill in. So there could be multiple reasons that the officer is not actually making a decision on your case. These reassignments are frequent. It's not unheard of that they've been pulled off of their interviewing schedule and put on something else. So this could be a reason for the delay. Also, there is a lot of turnover in the asylum office. So maybe your officer is no longer with the asylum office and they didn't make a final decision on your case before they left. And now your case has just been assigned to someone else to review and make a decision. And it's just taking them a while to get through these decisions that they've been assigned. And also, maybe the asylum officer just had too much work to do and they're delayed in issuing decisions on cases that they've interviewed. That could certainly be another reason for the delay. And similarly, your file may just be sitting there. So the asylum officer may still be there. There may be, maybe background checks are complete, but either it fell off their radar or it's not on someone's priority list and they just didn't come back to it. So mistakes definitely do happen. Also, there have been multiple occasions where decisions have been delayed for a really long time. And once we dig into it, we find out that the file was actually lost. It doesn't happen a lot, but the file being misplaced and lost is certainly a possible reason for the delay. And there may actually be an intentional hold on your case. So maybe all of the checks have been done and they are very aware that your case has been pending. But because of something about you or because of your case, they have an intentional hold on those case types. Or maybe they have an intentional hold because of a group that you were associated with. To give you an example, for many years, the asylum offices were holding cases where the applicant was a supporter or involved with the Aroma Liberation Front, for example. And there's a lot of different group associations that may lead them to hold the case rather than just denying it outright or referring it to court, because maybe they have some indication that things could change. Or there may be better treatment for these groups of cases, or that there may even be a negative decision on these case types coming down the pipeline. So the reason for the delay could actually be very intentional and not an oversight or just a backup in process. So these are a lot of examples of why the cases may be delayed. Again, and another one I wanted to mention was headquarters review. So some case types require headquarters review. And so the asylum office will actually send your case and the interview notes and their decision to headquarters to be reviewed before the final decision is issued. This could be a random quality check. This could be because headquarters are very interested in certain case types, whether it's a nationality or maybe the reason for an approval on a case. So that the headquarters review may be at issue as well. And sometimes this can take a really long time. So just going over sort of that list that I mentioned, some delays are caused by background checks, waiting for supervisor review, headquarters review. There are many reasons why the officer may not have made a decision on your case yet. It could have just been lost. The file may be misplaced. The case may have just fallen off of a priority list to get things done, or they could be intentionally holding your case for review. Now, of course, after your decision has been pending for months or years, some people come to me after their decision has been pending for 4 years or more, then it's really, really frustrating, and you really want to try to force the asylum office to bring your case to conclusion, so that you and your family can move forward. And there are some suggested ways of going about that. I always suggest, especially to attorneys who I mentor or who I work with, that the attorney should be following up with the asylum office. Once a case has been pending for 60 or 90 days, then it's pretty reasonable to follow up every 30 or 45 days, just to make sure things are moving along. A lot of times you're going to get a very standard response that your case is pending, the decision has not been made, and you're not going to be given any real details about why it's pending. But those frequent follow-ups will help keep your case on their radar. If your case is going on beyond a year, then you should really look into filing a lawsuit in federal court if you have done everything you can to get a decision on your case. So if you or your attorney has been following up frequently, if you've done a congressional liaison request or an ombudsman's request, those are other ways to try to get a decision on your case. And if you've done those things, and if you've made steps to try to get a decision and your case has still been pending for a year or more, then you can really look at filing these federal lawsuits to try to get a decision on your case. And I've gone into more details about ways to get cases unstuck before. And if people have a lot of questions, I can do another more detailed Facebook Live on that as well. So if anyone has any questions or comments, please let me know. I'll try to answer those while this is live. Of course, everything is public, so if you have a personal question or very case specific, it's probably better to contact us directly. You can contact us at info@alightlegal.com. I'm Lindsey. You can email me directly if you would like, lindsey@alightlegal.com. Our phone number is here as well. So delayed decisions are always frustrating. Everyone always wants to know why, how can it take this long? I've tried to provide some examples of why cases are delayed. And if your case is delayed and you haven't been reaching out, you haven't been following up, you haven't had your attorney follow up, then certainly start making those inquiries to try to get your case moving forward. All right, I hope this information was helpful and helps to sort of clarify what are some of the reasons for long pending cases. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or need assistance with your case.